Respected viewers, dear family of dreamers, let me begin quietly, without noise, without performance, because money is loud enough on its own, and most of you have already fought battles in silence that nobody clapped for. Tonight, I want to talk about one idea that can change your entire financial life. Make money work for you. Not the hashtag version, not the get rich by Friday version, the real version, the one built in the dark when your confidence is low, your bills are high, and your future feels like a locked door. Because here's the mysterious truth people don't like to admit. Sometimes destiny doesn't arrive as a miracle. Sometimes it arrives as a decision you repeat until it becomes a life. And wealth, real wealth, often shows up after you've almost stopped believing it would. So if you're sitting there thinking, maybe I'm late, maybe I missed my moment, listen closely. Your moment isn't behind you. It's waiting for you to become the kind of person who can hold it. That's where this begins. Most people work hard. Some people even work brutally hard. But the tragedy is this: they work hard forever and money still treats them like a visitor. It comes and goes, it doesn't stay, because the system they built depends on their energy, their health, their mood, their youth. And that's not freedom. That's a financial treadmill with a nicer outfit. The difference between struggling forever and breaking out isn't intelligence, it's not luck. And honestly, it's not even how much you earn, it's whether you understand the simple shift. You don't need more as money first. You need a better relationship with money first. You need a strategy that turns your effort into assets and your assets into momentum. Let me say that again, slowly. Your job is not your enemy, but your job is not your freedom either. Your job is your seed money, your starting fuel, your first brick. And if you never convert income into ownership, then you'll stay trapped in survival mode, even if your salary keeps rising. I've seen people with big paychecks living like they're one bad month away from collapse. And I've seen people with average incomes building quiet empires because they understood something the world rarely teaches. Wealth is not created by intensity. Wealth is created by consistency. A small amount invested with discipline will embarrass a large amount spent with ego. Now let me tell you a story you might recognize. A man I once met, ordinary, smart, hardworking, was proud of his hustle. He drove extra hours. He took side gigs. He was always tired, always chasing, always almost there. But year after year, nothing changed. One night he said something that stuck with me. I'm working harder than everyone I know. Why am I still stuck? The answer was painful, but simple. Because he was only building A's income, not building A's systems, not building his ownership, not building time leverage. He was pushing water uphill with his bare hands. And the hill doesn't care how motivated you feel. So we had a different conversation, not about more hustle, about structure. We talked about the boring, powerful stuff: emergency funds, debt control, automated investing, basic index exposure, quality businesses, and most importantly, a rule of identity. He stopped seeing himself as a worker who invests sometimes and started seeing himself as an investor who works to increase his investing power. That shift alone changes everything, because once you become that person, you stop asking, how do I earn more this month? And you start asking, how do I build assets that pay me forever? That's the bridge between pressure and peace. Now I'm going to be honest with you. The early phase of investing can feel humiliating. You invest a little, the results look small, and your mind starts whispering, what's the point? Is this even working? Am I wasting time? That's the moment most people quit. But those who understand compounding don't quit in the quiet phase, because they know the first years are not about profit. They're about positioning. You're building the habit, the discipline, the emotional stamina that will later protect you when the numbers get bigger and the temptations get louder. And if you want to make money work for you, you must learn one uncomfortable truth. Your emotions are expensive. Panic is expensive. Ego is expensive. And impatience. Impatience is one of the most expensive habits on earth. The market, whether stocks, business, real estate, or any asset, has a way of rewarding the calm and punishing the dramatic. So your real job is not to predict every move. Your real job is to survive long enough to let time become your partner. Think about that. Time is the unfair advantage available to ordinary people, not secret connections. Not insider deals, not viral luck, just time, plus discipline, plus a strategy you don't abandon when your feelings get noisy. Here's another small truth that can save your future. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be present. You will buy some things too early. You will miss some opportunities. You may even make one or two mistakes that sting your pride. Good. That means you're in the arena. The aim isn't to avoid every loss. The aim is to build a process so strong and steady that no single mistake can destroy your direction. And that brings me to the heart of this message. To make money work for you, you must stop treating wealth like a lottery and start treating it like a craft, a patient craft, a long game. You learn what you buy, you understand what you own, you respect risk, you protect your downside, you avoid trends you can't explain. And you keep showing up, even when it's boring, especially when it's boring, because boredom in investing is often a sign that you're doing it right. Now, maybe you're thinking, but my life is already heavy. I have responsibilities. I can't invest much. I hear you. But let's get real. The size of your start matters less than the seriousness of your start. Even a small monthly amount, when invested consistently, intelligently, can become the seed of a future you can breathe in. And once that seed grows, you'll notice something beautiful. Money begins to solve problems you used to solve with stress. You stop begging time for mercy. You stop fearing every surprise. You start planning with confidence. And that confidence doesn't just change your finances. It changes your posture, your decisions, your relationships, your self-respect, because deep down what people really want isn't luxury. It's the relief. It's the ability to say, I'm okay. I can handle life. I've built something that doesn't collapse the moment I get tired. So if you only take one lesson from this first part, take this. Don't aim to get rich fast. Aim to get free steadily. Build the habit. Build the system. Build the identity. And remember, your income is your starting line. Your investments are your pathway. And your patience. Your patience is your hidden weapon. Because the world rewards the person who can delay gratification long enough to buy their future back. Now let's go deeper, because the real battle isn't just building wealth. It's unlearning the habits that quietly steal it. Most people don't lose money because they're foolish. They lose money because they're exhausted, because they're scared, because their life has trained them to grab short-term comfort, even when long-term freedom is begging for attention. And when you've lived in pressure long enough, even a small win can make you reckless. Even a small loss can make you disappear. That's why the middle chapter of this journey is not about charts and cleverness, it's about character. Because money doesn't just test your strategy, it tests your identity. Let me paint a scene you might know too well. You finally start investing. You cut a few expenses, you try to be consistent, and then life happens. A family emergency, a medical bill, a job shift, a sudden responsibility you didn't plan for. In that moment, your financial plan can feel fragile, like a house built with paper. And your mind says, see, this is why you can't build wealth. This is why you should stop dreaming big. But that's not the truth. The truth is, this is exactly why you must build wealth. Because life will always come with storms. The only question is whether you'll face those storms with panic or with preparation. This is where the boring tools become sacred. A cash buffer, a simple emergency fund, insurance where it makes sense, and the humility to say, I won't invest money I may need tomorrow. That's not fear, that's wisdom. Making money work for you doesn't mean gambling your peace for a bigger number. It means building a structure so your future doesn't get held hostage. Buy your present. Now here's a hard truth that will sting a little. If you're always broke at the end of the month, there is a chance you don't have an income problem. You may have a priority problem. Not because you're careless, but because the world sells you comfort like it's a necessity. It sells you a lifestyle before it sells you a future. And the price of that illusion is your freedom. You don't have to live like a monk. You don't have to punish yourself, but you do need to decide what matters more, looking rich today or being free tomorrow, because the market doesn't care how stylish your struggle looks. It only rewards discipline, and discipline is a quiet thing. It's choosing to invest when nobody is watching. It's saying no to an extra expense so your future self can finally breathe. It's refusing to be bullied by urgency. Now let's talk about risk, because most people misunderstand it. They think risk means volatility. They think risk means red days. They think risk means fear. But real risk is deeper than that. Real risk is buying what you don't understand. Real risk is chasing what already ran. Real risk is building a life with no margin for reality. And the biggest risk of all is never starting. That's the silent tragedy, because the person who never invests doesn't just lose money, they lose time. And time is the only currency you never get a refund for. So if you're afraid of making mistakes, good, that means you care. But let fear become a teacher, not a jail guard. Start simple, stay consistent, avoid complexity that flatters your ego, but destroys your results. Now, another story. A woman I knew was brilliant with her work, sharp, focused, reliable. But she had one habit that erased her progress every year. Whenever she got a bonus or a big month, she celebrated like the future was guaranteed. New phone, bigger spending, a lifestyle upgrade. That felt like victory. And I get it. When you've suffered long enough, you want proof that you're finally winning. But here's the twist. She wasn't celebrating success, she was celebrating relief. And relief is beautiful, but it's not a strategy. So I asked her something simple. What if your bonus became your freedom deposit? Not all of it, not in a dramatic way. Just a rule, a percentage goes to your future before your present starts negotiating. That one rule changed your trajectory, because system beat moods. If you rely on motivation, you'll invest only when you feel inspired. But if you rely on systems, you'll invest even when life feels dull or heavy. And that's when compounding starts to take you seriously. Now, I want to address something nobody likes to say out loud. The middle phase of wealth building can feel lonely because you're not broke anymore. but you're not free yet. You're not in crisis, but you're not at peace. You're in the tunnel. And the tunnel tests you. It tests your patience. It tests your faith. It tests your ability to keep showing up without applause. This is where most people drift. They start comparing. They see someone on social media claiming insane returns. They see a friend making fast money in something risky. They see the noise. And their plan begins to look slow. But slow is not weak. Slow is stable. Slow is how empires are built. That lasts longer than trends. So when you feel that itch to chase, you pause and ask yourself, is this my strategy talking or my insecurity? Because insecurity will always want a shortcut. Strategy will always want a foundation. And that foundation is what makes money finally start working for you. Now let's talk about purpose, because this is where your investing becomes spiritual in a practical way. If your only reason to build money is consumption, you will never feel full. You'll keep upgrading and still feel empty. But if your reason includes freedom, dignity, protection for your family, the power to say no to exploitation, the power to live on your terms, then every investment becomes meaningful, even small ones, because you're not just buying assets, you're buying options, you're buying peace, you're buying the right to not live in constant fear. And one day, quietly, you will look around and realize something shocking. You are no longer desperate. You are no longer reactive. You are no longer living one paycheck away from emotional collapse. And that is the real victory. Not the number, the identity. So if your life feels messy right now, if your income is modest, if your responsibilities are heavy, don't insult your future by assuming this is all you'll ever be. This chapter is not the end. This is the training ground. This is where you build the discipline that turns ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes. Keep it simple. Keep it consistent. Protect your downside. Invest in what you understand. Let time do the heavy lift. And most of all, don't let your current struggle convince you that you are not built for wealth. You are, but wealth only listens to the person who returns every month with patience in one hand and purpose in the other. By now, you can probably feel the shape of this whole journey. It starts with hope, then it runs into discipline, and then it arrives at something deeper than wealth. It arrives at ownership of your life, because the real dream isn't to become someone who makes money. The real dream is to become someone who is no longer controlled by money, and that's the quiet finish line most people never talk about. They talk about the car, the house, the applause. But the most powerful moment in a person's financial life is rarely public, it's private. It's the day you realize it. You're not scared anymore. Not because life is perfect, but because you built a foundation strong enough to handle imperfection. That's what it means to make money work for you. It means your money becomes a guardrail, a cushion, a partner, not a master. Now, let's be honest. The world is designed to keep you distracted. It will offer you 10 shiny shortcuts before it offers you one reliable path. It will tempt you to chase speed when your real victory is direction. And if you made it this far with me, you already know the secret. The person who wins long-term is not the most excited person. It's the most committed person, the one who keeps investing when headlines are loud, the one who stays calm when the crowd gets dramatic, the one who doesn't confuse a temporary dip with a permanent defeat, because markets move. Business cycles breathe, luck comes and goes. But character compounds. This part of your journey is where your mindset stops being fragile. You stop needing constant reassurance. You stop needing perfect timing. You begin to trust your process. And a process you trust is what protects you when emotions try to hijack your future. So let's talk about the last transformation. The shift from, I hope I get rich, to I know I'm building wealth. That confidence doesn't come from one big win. It comes from years of small, repeated choices that look boring to outsiders, but look beautiful to your future self. It's the month you invested even though you didn't feel like it. It's the day you didn't panic sell. It's the moment you said no to something flashy because your long-term goal mattered more. That's the unseen architecture of freedom. And eventually, your money starts speaking for you. Even when you are silent, you wake up and your assets are working. Your investments are growing. Your system is moving without needing your constant energy. That's when it hits you. This is what people mean when they say money should be your employee, not your boss. Now, I want to offer you a calm truth. You don't need to beat everyone. You just need to stop beating yourself. A lot of people delay investing because they want to feel ready. But readiness is a myth. That fear sells you. You become ready by building the habit. You become confident by staying in the game. So if your portfolio is small, good. Small things become big things when they are protected and fed consistently. That is how forests begin. That is how legacies begin. That is how ordinary people quietly break generational patterns. And speaking of patterns, let's not ignore the emotional weight many of you carry. Some of you are not just building wealth. You're rebuilding dignity. You're trying to be the first person in your family who doesn't live in anxiety. The first person who can handle emergencies without emotional collapse. The first person Who can plan the future without fear of shame? That is not a small mission. That is a deep one. And if nobody has told you this clearly, your desire for stability is not selfish. It's noble. Because when you build financial strength, you don't just change your life. You change the emotional climate of everyone who depends on you. You become calmer. You become less reactive. You become harder to manipulate. With urgency or guilt, you stop making desperate decisions because your foundation gives you breathing room, and breathing room is the birthplace of wise choices. Now let's bring this home with a simple framework you can carry forward without stress. You don't need 100 rules. You need a few that you respect. 1, protect your base. Don't invest money you might need soon. Let safety fund your courage. 2, invest consistently, not perfectly, consistently. 3, prefer quality over noise. Understand what you own. Avoid what you can't explain. 4, let time do its job. Compounding is slow at first and unstoppable later. 5, keep your ego small. The market punishes pride more than it punishes inexperience. That's it. Simple but not easy. Yet the hardest part isn't the math. It's believing you deserve the long-term version of success instead of the short-term illusion. Because the short-term illusion feels like relief, but the long-term path creates peace. And peace is the highest form of wealth. So if you're still in the early years, don't disrespect your progress. If you're still learning, don't judge your beginnings. If you're rebuilding, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's highlight reel. Stay honest. Stay consistent. Stay patient. Your future is not asking you to be fearless. It's asking you to be faithful to the process, even when the results are still quiet. Because one day, the quiet work becomes loud outcomes. One day, you will look at your life and realize you're no longer negotiating with fear every morning. You're building on solid ground. And when that day comes, you won't just feel richer. You'll feel lighter ebbs. You'll feel the deep relief of knowing you made money work for you. And in doing so, you took your life back. Respected viewers, let's bring this home gently. We started with a quiet but dangerous truth that destiny and wealth don't usually arrive like lightning. They arrive like a habit. A decision repeated so many times it becomes your identity. We talked about turning income into ownership, turning effort into assets, and refusing to live a life where your future depends only on how hard you can push your body today. Then we walked through the middle season, the tunnel where you're not broke anymore, but you're not free yet. The season that teaches patience, not hype. The season that punishes ego and rewards structure. Where you learn that your emotions cost money and your systems save it. Where you stop chasing relief and start building stability. And now you're here at the stage where the point is no longer just growth. The point is peace. Because the real goal of making money work for you isn't to impress the world. It's to stop being at war with your own life. It's waking up without dread. It's handling surprises without collapsing. It's being able to say no to pressure, no to exploitation, no to panic, because you built a foundation that can hold your future steady. This is what wealth looks like when it has a soul, not loud, not arrogant, not desperate, quiet strength, a calm confidence that says, I don't need to rush. I don't need to chase what I don't understand. I don't need to gamble my peace to prove I'm worthy of success. I am building something real and time is working with me now. So if you're still early, keep going. If you're inconsistent, forgive yourself and return. If your numbers are small, protect them like seeds. If your life feels heavy, remember that your discipline is not punishment, it's devotion to your future. And one day, almost quietly, you'll notice the shift. Your money will start supporting your values instead of controlling your choices. Your investments will start giving you time, not just returns. Your mind will get lighter, your decisions will get clearer, your life will feel more yours. That's the real win. So build with patience, move with purpose. Stay loyal to the long game, because abundance is not just what you earn, it's what you keep, what you grow, and what you protect with wisdom. Vision is not just what you want, it's what you're willing to repeat when nobody is cheering. And peace is the quiet reward that comes when you finally trust the life you've been building. May your money grow, may your judgment stay calm, may your future expand, and may your heart remain steady as you rise. A truth most people learn too late: your salary is not your freedom, your investments are. Start small, stay consistent, and watch time turn your discipline into dignity and your dignity into peace. You don't need a miracle to become wealthy. You need a system, a simple plan you respect even on boring days, because boring investing is often the path to a beautiful future. If you want money to work for you, stop chasing what's loud and start building what lasts. The crowd will celebrate you late, but your future will thank you early. The most expensive habit isn't spending, it's impatience. If you can stay calm when others panic and stay consistent when others quit, you're already ahead of the game. One day your biggest flex won't be what you bought, it will be how peaceful you became. Because the real purpose of wealth is a life that doesn't feel like a daily emergency,